Super Retro Force.
Oh, what is up, YouTube? Okay, so it's time for another one of these videos. I've noticed lately that there's been a lot of talk, people basically talking about don't let video games ruin your life. And, we've been talking about, basically collection addiction and stuff on this channel for a while now. And it's spreading. It's really spreading. There's been a lot more people talking about this subject now, and recently Heckin' Steve had a very popular video. Don't let video game collecting ruin your life. And we're just we're gonna touch in on that today. And shout out to Heckin' Steve for doing a video on this and having a huge popular video about it. So just for a little, I'm trying to think of the right words for this today, but just for a little background, I used to be huge into video game collecting. I had a pretty decent collection, not as big as some of these other people on YouTube obviously have, but I had a pretty modest collection, I'll say. But I ended up getting rid of a lot of it because one day I noticed that I just had too many games. I just kind of was like, okay, I'm not into this anymore. Why do I have this? And I wasn't like some people where I went down an extremely dark path with my collecting. Now there's people out there that have, probably maxed out credit cards. They've probably not paid bills. They've not done some other stuff. Just all in the name of collecting. Straight out saying that. So some of you will be saying, well, this doesn't make sense. How could somebody let collecting ruin their life? Well, it becomes at some point an obsession. Like with anything, you start finding games in the wild. You start finding good deals on stuff. You start, getting stuff from your childhood that you've really been looking for. And then on top of that, you're just really into it. Like jumping headfirst into the pool of video games like Scrooge McDuck into his vault of gold coins. And it God, I'm trying to think, like, it's just when it started with me, it started off simple. I started watching some Metal Jesus Rocks videos and stuff like that, and then I went and dug out my old NES from when I was a kid and my Sega Genesis, and then it kind of grew from there. Oh my god, I started off very simple. I got games for my NES. I got some games for the Sega Genesis, and then I'm like, you know what? I never had a Super Nintendo. So I bought a Super Nintendo. And then I seen somebody was selling a Sega Genesis locally. Or, a Sega Dreamcast. So I was like, oh, cool. I never had a Sega Dreamcast. I've always wanted one of those. And I just kind of started buying and buying and buying. What transformed after this was buying to feel good. And then on top of that, I was reselling as well. So I'd buy huge lots of items, keep what I wanted, sell the rest, and either try to make a profit or pay for my collection that way. Now this had both a positive and negative result. The big one was I was obviously building a collection easily. I was selling everything, I was making money, and on top of that, I could just buy more games. But the negative thing of it was I was feeling so good. Dopamine spikes, serotonin releases, all those chemicals in the brains that make you say, ooh, this is nice, We're going crazy. and it kept wanting me to do it more and more and more. So I became obsessed. I started searching through, Facebook more. I started getting on Mercari more. I started getting on eBay more. I had saved searches so that whenever I had any free time, I could just instantly open up these apps, click a button, and start seeing what the new listings were. Because I was going to find the best deals. I was going to build this amazing collection. And it started to really hone into my life. Now, a lot of you, like I said, well, I mean, a lot of people would just be like, okay, just stop buying the games. Just stop, collecting, just whatever. You noticed you had a problem, why'd you keep going? Well, that was just it. Is at first I didn't notice the problem. It was everybody else that noticed the problem. And they would drop hints here and there, like, okay, like if somebody came over to visit, they'd be like, wow, man, you got a lot of stuff down here, It wasn't necessarily like you need to stop kind of vibes, but it was definitely the, whoa, dude, kind of like one of those things. Same with, my wife. When I'd start picking up games and stuff like that, or packages would start showing up more and more, and she's like, okay, how much did that cost? And why did you pick that game? And everything with that. I know there's a lot more people out there that have probably dove in and had worse scenarios. Like I said, people that have probably maxed out credit cards or didn't pay bills because they spent too much money doing this. But there is some other side effects too. Like I said, you just you focus so much on doing it that other stuff becomes less important. Maybe your family doesn't become a priority. Maybe some other things around the house itself, not doing some repairs needed because you're so focused on something else, and just not, like I said, with the family, and not building relationships with other people. You become so focused on either the money aspect of it or just the popularity of having a big collection, or just the views. Like that was a huge thing with me, was when I started collecting too. At first it was okay because I wasn't like building a channel, I wasn't building social media, I wasn't building anything like that. It was just kind of me just getting games for me, and a lot of it was actual games that I'd want to play or was connected with, which is, I think, how everybody's collecting should be, what your collection should be. Like most of the stuff behind me is something that I actually enjoy now or really love, and it's not more of a show, is what I want to say. Well, the tree's a show, obviously, because Christmas is coming up, and my wife got me a sweet Mario star for the top of the little tree, so we got that down here. But it's not me trying to fill some shelves and behind me to look cool. Or in my eyes, my vision of what cool was. And it's just, like I said, just another big shout out to Heck and Steve for talking about this too, and the other channels that have been bringing this up, because it was just, everybody's got this vision of collecting, and it's just the glorified parts of it. Getting something new, putting it up on the shelf, sitting down and enjoying it, watching it, looking at it. But people don't talk much more about some of the stuff that leads you to there, or this, the bad side effects of collecting too much, too fast, or too hard. That's what she said. But in all actuality, there is, boundaries and stuff in collecting that people can follow. So besides, talking about earlier in this video how, what could cause it to ruin your life, some stuff that I've found along the ways that help me not allow it to ruin my life now has been some basic rules and boundaries. One of the big ones right now for me is I can usually only buy one game a month. Yep, that's right, one game a month. And most of the time I can only buy that game a month if I first beat another game. So let's say I actually have a Silent Hill Remake 2 installing right now on my PS5. Now, the only reason I actually have that installing right now, and I purchased it Black Friday for, I think, $30, I beat Resident Evil 2 Remake again. And then, yeah, I decided it was time to be able to go on to another game. So people are going to see, I think basically what this rule is kind of implementing more of is trying to dive more into my backlog and the games that I have left in my collection to actually sit down and enjoy. Because that was one of the things that was ruining, what collecting was ruining, was having the time and energy and fun of actually playing the games. I would get collection paralysis where I would not want to play anything because I had too much. So like if you'd get on Netflix or something like that, and you ever had that where you got on Netflix or whatever and you wanted to watch something, but you spent more time looking for something to watch than actually watching it itself? Now that was a huge thing for me too for a long time, and it still is to this day with YouTube and everything. I spend more time flipping through this stuff than I actually did it. So this allowed me to actually sit down and enjoy something then. So I beat Resident Evil 2 Remake, which allowed me to pick up another game. Now that was one of the huge first rules. The other one is once I buy a game and play through it, if I really enjoyed it or if I expect to someday maybe play it again, then I'll hold on to it. So when this stuff first started happening, I got Hogwarts Legacy, and I played through it, I beat it, and then I had to do the sit down and think about it. I was like, okay, that was a good game, I enjoyed it. There might be some DLC someday, but do I really see myself playing through it again? And in all honesty, no, I don't. I didn't. So I ended up selling it, getting the money for it, and putting it towards another game. What would this do then? It allows you not to build and amass a bunch of games again that you aren't going to enjoy. So then kind of the good thing about this then was once I found another game that I liked, it sat on the collection and I got to keep it. I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. There really hasn't been too many games that I've done that with. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Obviously, I bought that. I played through it. I'm like, I'm going to play through this again someday. So I kept it. So there you go. There was the first rule. And yeah, talking a little bit more on that. But I think one of the huge things we talked about in the past was just setting guidelines to having it. Right now, the rule number 2 was only keeping stuff, like I just said, that I would play through again, or that I was connected more with. So games that I was like, either franchises that I loved, like Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, Devil May Cry, and franchises like that, actually holding on to them because I felt connected with them or I enjoyed them. All in all, what this is ending up talking about is I built a collection, a private collection or whatever, that was based more on me and less on what I thought people wanted to see. And once I started doing stuff like that, I started feeling good again. I started feeling better. I started enjoying stuff more with it coming down in the game room. Instead of feeling crowded, surrounded, and enclosed, claustrophobic, I felt free and actually able to look up and be like, I want to play that game, and actually play it, instead of being like, I wonder which game I should play, and spending too much time looking around. Now, I've kind of dragged on talking about this now, but like I've said several times, shout out to Heck and Steve for bringing more awareness to this. His video took way off, which is amazing. I'm actually hoping here next year to do he invited me on a show, so hopefully we can sit down and have a good conversation about this, because it seems like he's been really doing a lot of videos lately talking less about resellers and stuff like that and talking more about game collecting in general, which is really exciting to see, guys. But I just want to thank you guys all for watching this and supporting me in the past, and I love reading your comments if these videos help, and that's huge. Just the comments themselves about people saying that these videos helped either see that their collecting had become a problem or helping them through their collecting issues. And like Steve said in his thumbnail and his title, in which I'll probably relate more on my title on here, don't let collecting ruin your life. Gaming's supposed to be fun, so make sure that game collecting is fun itself. So that being said, guys, as always, stay retro, my friends, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. God bless, guys.
Super Retro Force.